The French Revolution. We are beginning the first chapter of history, class 9th. The French Revolution. The chapter begins with an incident which has been narrated. The incident says that the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. As on 14 July 1789, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. Why it was in the state of alarm? Because the king had ordered the troops to enter into the city. The king had ordered the troops to enter into the city. You should know that there is less degree of trust in case of monarchy, and so when there is less degree of trust, then rumors spread very easily. So when people saw the troops entering into the city, rumors spread that these troops would open fire upon the subjects. And so the people, men and women, they gathered in front of the town hall and they declared themselves as People's Militia. They decided to form People's Militia, People's Army. But they did not have arms. So they broke into a number of government buildings in search of arms. Finally, they attacked Bastille. Bastille was a fortress prison, a prison in the shape of a fort, and they killed the commander of the Bastille and they freed all the 7 prisoners. There were only 7 prisoners. They freed them and they demolished Bastille. Demolished means they destroyed Bastille, and they all hated Bastille, the fortress prison, because it stood for the despotic, unlimited, ultimate power of the king. And they hated Bastille so much that they began selling the fragments, the pieces of the demolished fortress prison in the open market, and people bought those fragments to keep them as a souvenir, as mark, as token of destruction. They bought the fragments. Imagine how they hated Bastille, that they bought the fragments, means something waste, to keep those fragments as a mark of destruction. They were so very angry with Bastille, which stood as a symbol of despotic and ultimate power of the king. So imagine, they hated the king, they hated that Bastille prison. But why? I mean, this incident, it marked the beginning of the French Revolution. But why? For this, we need to understand the society of France and the background. But before this, let me narrate the incident all over again so that you can imbibe the incident, you can grasp the incident. Let's see all what happened. On the morning of 14 July 1789, the city of Paris was in a state of alarm. The city of Paris was in a state of alarm because the king had ordered the troops to enter into the city. The king had ordered the troops to enter into the city, and the rumors spread that these troops would open fire upon the subjects. These troops would open fire upon the subjects. Some 7,000 men and women, they gathered in front of the town hall. And they formed People's Militia. They formed People's Army, and then they started breaking into a number of buildings, government buildings, in search of arms. They broke into a number of government buildings in search of arms. Finally, they attacked Bastille, which was a fortress prison. It stood for the despotic, unlimited, ultimate power of the king. They killed the commander of Bastille. They freed all the 7 prisoners, only the 7 prisoners were there, and they demolished Bastille, and its fragments were sold in the open market. People bought the fragments to keep those fragments as a token, as a souvenir of destruction. Now, why all this happened? Let's understand. This incident marked the beginning of the French Revolution, but why? For this, you need to understand the background. In 1774, Louis XVI of the Bourbon family of kings ascended the throne. In 1774, Louis XVI, who belonged to the Bourbon family, ascended the throne. He was just 20 years old and married to an Austrian princess, Marie Antoinette. He was married to an Austrian princess, Marie Antoinette, when he ascended the throne. When he ascended the throne, he found the treasury empty. Imagine a king without wealth, without treasury. And why the treasury was empty? The treasury was empty because of long years of wars fought by France. They drained their resources in the battles, and so the treasury was empty. Not only this led to the emptying of the treasury, but also the extravagant expenses in maintaining the palace of Versailles. The extravagant expenses means they spent a lot of money. Yes, they spent lot of resources, lot of financial resources in maintaining the palace of Versailles. Extravagant means that was not required. They spent lot of money in maintaining the palace of Versailles. So the treasury was empty. So when Louis XVI of the Bourbon family ascended the throne at the age of 20 years, he found the treasury empty. And the treasury was empty because of the long years of war fought by France, and then because of extravagant maintaining the palace of Versailles. That means they spent a lot of money in maintaining the palace of Versailles. They spent money more than what was required in maintaining the court. Louis XVI knew that there was no treasury. Then too, he helped 13 American colonies to attain independence against the common enemy Britain. Britain is also in Europe. However, the European countries did not share very friendly relations at that point of time, and so they helped the Britishers. They ruled over almost every country in the world. They ruled over India, they ruled over America also, and France, that is Louis XVI, helped 13 American colonies to get freedom from the domination of the Britishers. So they helped the 13 American colonies, and as a result, the debt means debt means France had borrowed money. That debt rose to more than 2 billion livres. The debt rose all the more. There was increase in debt, there was increase in borrowing. There cannot be any battle without draining of the financial resources. So when Louis XVI helped the 13 American colonies to attain independence against the common enemy Britain, they helped those 13 American colonies to get freedom from Britain. So it added to the debt of France, and it rose to more than 2 billion livres. And then what happened? When debt rose to more than 2 billion livres, the lenders, they started charging 10% interest. Of course, if you take loan, then you have to pay interest. So the lender started charging 10% interest. Now, Louis XVI had to pay 10% interest. So that was an extra expense which was added. He also had to maintain his court, that immense palace of Versailles. He had to run various universities. He had to maintain army, and then this extra burden of 10% interest. So he wanted to increase the taxes. But there was a rule in France that king on his own cannot increase the taxes. Yes, there was a rule that king on his own cannot increase the taxes. For this, he had to call the meeting of Estates General. He had to call the meeting of the three estates. What are three estates? Let's understand. At that point of time, the French society was divided into three estates. You can say three different classes. Yes, the first estate was clergy. Clergy means the priests, those who belong to church. Second estate was of nobles. And third estate comprised businessmen, peasants, artisans, and more. So, Louis XVI wanted to increase the taxes because he had to pay 10% interest. However, there was a rule that the king on his own could not increase the taxes. So he had to call the meeting of the Estate General or the three estates. What are the three estates? The society was divided into three estates, three sections. The first estate, the second estate, and the third estate. The first estate comprised the clergy. That means the people belonging to the church. Second estate comprised the nobles. And the third estate comprised big businessmen, peasants, laborers, etc. The first and the second estate did not have to pay any taxes. Means if a person was born in the first or the second estate, he was exempted from all taxes. Only the people of the third estate had to pay taxes. Then the people of the third estate had to pay taxes to the king. They also had to pay feudal privileges to the nobles. That means to the second estate also they had certain obligations to fulfill. They had to pay them certain feudal privileges. Then they also had to pay to the church a tax called tithes. Imagine, there are three estates, the first estate, the second estate, and the third estate. The first and the second estate, that is the clergy and the nobles, they were exempted from all taxes. And only the third estate had to pay tax to the government, to the king. They also had to pay certain amount to the nobles. They had to pay certain feudal privileges to the nobles. They also had to pay a tax called tithes to the church. Means only the third estate bore the burden of taxes, and they were liable to pay not only to the king but also to the first and the second estate. Not only this, they also had to pay tax on indirect tax on the consumption of salt, tobacco, etc. Like we pay. We buy salt, then we have to pay certain tax. So they had to pay that tax also. So they had to pay tax to the church, which was called tithes. They had to pay certain feudal privileges to the nobles, to the second estate. Then they had to pay direct tax to the king, which was called taille, Taille. Then they paid indirect tax on the consumption of various commodities like sugar, salt, tobacco, etc. And the third estate comprised 90% of the population. 90% of the population. And more than 60% of the land was owned by the first estate, second estate, and some richer people of the third estate. That means more than 60% of the land is owned by the first estate, the second estate, and the richer people of the third estate, while 90% of the population is of the third estate. So imagine, though the third estate was in large number, but they owned very little land. That means most of them must have been landless. So all the privileges were enjoyed by the first and the second estate, right? Like the first estate, it comprised clergy, the priests. The second estate comprised nobles, and the third estate comprised peasants, some businessmen, laborers, etc. The first and the second estate were exempted from all taxes. Only the third estate had to pay tax. They paid direct tax to the government, that was called taille, T-A-I-L-L-E. They paid tax to the clergy, that is the first estate, which is called tithes. They paid feudal privileges to the nobles. They paid tax on a number of commodities. They paid indirect tax on a number of commodities, like when they bought salt, tobacco, etc. Then they comprised 90% of the population, but more than 60% of the land was owned by the clergy and the nobles. That means more than 60% of the land was owned by 10% of the population. So many from the third estate must have been landless. They also had to serve in army. They also had to help in the construction of roads. So you can imagine how the people of the third estate were discriminated. They were subjected to discrimination, and life was difficult for them. Then what happened? Between 1715 to 1789, there was a rapid increase in the population of France. There was rapid increase in the population of France. The population rose from 23 million to 28 million. The population increased, but the production did not increase with the same pace. Means the population increased, but the production did not increase with the same pace. When the population increased, that means demand increased, but the production did not increase. Whenever there is demand for something, but there is no production, or there is little production, what happens? The price rises. The prices rise. The price rises, and this is what happened in France also. So the population increased from 23 million to 28 million between 1715 to 1789, but the production did not increase with the same pace, with the same speed. And what happened? As a result, as the production did not increase with the same rate, what happened? The prices increased. The prices of bread increased. The prices increased, and the wages of the people were fixed. The wages did not increase. So the gap between the rich and the poor widened. The gap between the rich and the poor widened. And whenever there was hail or storm means the weather conditions were unfavorable, then what happened? The production of food grains also failed. That means the crops also failed. Already there was scarcity of crops. Then during hail, storm, or during adverse weather and climatic conditions, the crops failed. And when the crops failed, there was food scarcity. And this whole situation when there was food scarcity because of natural calamities, it came to be known as subsistence crisis. And subsistence crisis was very common in France. So this was another reason for so much unrest in France. So much unrest in France means there was less of production, prices were high, but the wages were low, and only the third estate had to pay taxes, so they were bearing the burden of paying taxes. And then during hail or storm, which was very common, very frequent in France, the food production decreased, and this led to subsistence crisis. So you can imagine that there was a state of unrest. These were the causes of the French Revolution. Let's understand this all over again. What happened? The population of France increased from 23 million to 28 million between 1715 and 1789. The population increased, but the production did not increase with the same pace. And since the production did not increase with the same pace, so what happened? The prices rose. The prices of the food grains rose, but the wages were fixed. Now, what happened? The gap between the rich and the poor widened, and whenever there was hail or storm, the crops failed. Already there was scarcity of food, and then the crops failed, and this was called subsistence crisis, when the people did not have enough production to feed their stomach, to feed their belly. And this subsistence crisis was very common in France at that point of time. There were frequent famines, hailstorms, which reduced the harvest. This was very common in the old regime. When I say old regime, it refers to the society and institutions of France before 1789. Before 1789, the society and institutions of France came under old regime. So, subsistence crisis, droughts, failing of harvest was very common in the old regime. Old regime means the society and institutions of France before 1789. The French Revolution. We are beginning the first chapter of history, class 9th. The French Revolution. The chapter begins with an incident which has been narrated. The incident says that the city of Paris was in a state of alarm as on 14 July